Welcome to the Leverage Show. This is Brett Ingram. And the question for today is, what makes the biggest difference between someone who achieves normal results or struggles and somebody who achieves really tremendous results and becomes super successful in whatever it is that they're doing? Now, in particular, when we're talking about entrepreneurs, this is something that people have studied for decades. This has been a really hot topic, and everybody wants to know, what really is the key? What is it that sort of underpins all of those things, and how can you create that then in order to be able to duplicate that success or be able to do the same kind of thing yourself? And so there's one real skill when it really comes down to it. If you really boil it down and you take a look at everything else and you adjust for all other variables and you adjust for everybody else's conditions and maybe the circumstances they have going into the situation, or the mentors or the advantages or the budget or any and every of those other factors, those may be things that you have no control over. But there's one particular thing that you do, and it's the single biggest factor in terms of determining your ability to get to where you want to be. And this is true really in any walk of life or in any sort of endeavor that you're taking on, but in particular when we're talking about business building, entrepreneurship, and those kinds of pursuits. And that skill is the ability to determine what's most important of all the things that needs to be done, and then going to get that done. And it sounds really simple and it sounds very commonsensical, but the fact of the matter is we are bombarded with far too many things to do on a daily basis. There's no way that we can get everything done that we need to be able to get done. And we have to make choices. We have to make decisions. We have to decide what things we're going to do, what things we're not going to do. We have to decide what things we're going to delegate, what things we're just going to forget about, and what things that we're actually going to engage and spend our active time and attention doing. And that is the single biggest factor, because there are only so many hours in a day, and there is only so much that any one person can do. And so it goes beyond even what your own personal locus of control is. It goes into the whole idea of what you're managing and what you're trying to grow. So deciding for yourself what's most important for you is at the core of it. You should be focusing on whatever your particular core advantage is. So if you are excellent at doing marketing, then that's where you should focus your time. If you are the best creative designer in your firm and that is the thing that does it for you and makes you, gives you a unique advantage, then that's what you should be doing. If you're a fantastic leader, then you should be focusing on developing other people within the organization and focusing on leadership skills. These are all things that you can do to impact your business, your company, and be able to grow it in a way that no other person would be able to do it exactly the same way. And so it starts with you, and it starts with understanding what to focus on for yourself, but it actually extends way beyond that, because then it goes into what things should your company be doing or your business be doing as a whole. And again, those decisions that you make are going to be the things that are going to determine how far and how successful you become. I mean, if you think of it this way, okay, you are the car that drives your business. You're the person who sets the agenda. You're the person who makes the decisions. And so you're behind the wheel, and you're the car that drives your business. So your ability to get stuff done, to determine what is most important in your business, what is the most critical thing that you can do to be successful, is the engine. And that is going to determine whether or not you're a Pinto or whether or not you're a Ferrari. And so at the end of the day, you have those hours to decide, and we all have that same level playing field. So whether you have, finances, or whether you have a team, or whether you have experience, all of those other things can all be overcome. But how you focus your time and what you spend your time on is the single biggest factor, because all the money in the world is not going to help you in your budget if it's misallocated. if you're spending it in the wrong place, if you're hiring a bunch of people just because you can, if you're buying a bunch of ads just because you can. You know, there's advantages to being lean. There are advantages to having to bootstrap because it teaches you to be resourceful. It teaches you to get very lean and to think in a very specific way about how to get things done without a lot of waste, without a lot of excess. And that's really, really valuable and really powerful. But that is the way that you go from wherever you are to where you want to be, is by identifying what those core things are. So you need to think about what it is in your business, what you're trying to accomplish, what's your goal, what's your vision. And then from the perspective of how you're going to get there, what are the most important priorities in order to be able to do it? And then within that, within those priorities, what are the things that you specifically have strengths in that you should be doing? And what other things should you be delegating? And that is how you sort of build the strategy from the inside out, in terms of starting with that priority and starting with the understanding of what the key things are that your business needs to accomplish in order to reach the goals that you've set and in order to get to where you want to be. And you can develop this as an actual culture in the business that you're in. So it starts with you, but it can go beyond that as well. If you have managers, as you start to grow your business, if you have employees and you have managers, you can teach your managers to do exactly the same thing. Listen, if you are the manager of production, then you want to identify what the handful of key things are that you need to be able to do in the production environment in order to be the most successful that we can be and to hit the goals that we want to hit. Then you need to find out those core things. What of those things do you need to do yourself, and what of those things should you delegate? And you start to build it out from the inside out. And as everybody starts to adopt the same philosophy and starts to work in the same way, you can start to achieve really, really incredible things. And it can go beyond that. You can expand and you can scale. So one of the greatest things and strengths about that particular approach and strategy to go at your business is that it's scalable. So you're no longer relying just on one person's personal power or ability to get something done. You're no longer relying on one person's genius. You now have a strategy. You now have a blueprint for how you can duplicate this throughout your entire business. And this is what you teach your managers. This is what you teach your leaders inside your business. Listen, you need to identify what these core competencies are. You need to identify which ones of those you need to keep in-house and do yourself. And then you need to identify what ones you need to delegate. That's going to help you find the right kind of people. And when you're hiring, it's also going to help you identify, from a characteristic standpoint, people that are going to fit into the mold that you're trying to set. Because you can identify by asking questions about the way that they view their job, view their responsibilities, and see if they're compatible with that kind of vision. Because you're going to need other people on board that see it and feel it the same way you do for that to be expandable, scalable, and for it to work on a big, long-term and large-scale basis. But at the core of it all, it's, even if you're a one-person show sitting in your bedroom and trying to create a business out of that, what you need to start to do is to really identify what the core things are that your business or your dream of a business or an entrepreneurial venture needs to do. And then you need to decide what of that core are you uniquely the best at, uniquely qualified at or for, and do that stuff. And then you need to find other people to do the rest. Start with the core, then start to worry about the things that are non-essential. But you've got to get all of those core things done and get that focus going. That will get the engine moving forward. And it allows for the ability to do and expand into all those other areas. A mistake that a lot of people make is they focus on all the wrong things. They focus on things that might just be urgent or nagging at them, but they're not the most important in terms of driving the business forward, generating revenue, building the business, allowing you to grow. And those are the things that are ultimately most important, even if they're not the most accessible, even if they're not the most pressing at the exact moment, those are the things, those are the areas that you need to put your attention to and focus on, and make sure that those things all get done. Because even if you only get those core things done every single day, you will move forward faster than someone who's working a 16-hour day but spending it on all the wrong things. You know, this is how you build a blueprint, not only for success and for growth, but also for a very streamlined work day, a very streamlined work week where you're not working 16, 18 hours a day and not sleeping. You have a work-life balance, but you're so productive at getting the things done that are important that that's all you need to do on a given day. And that will take you further faster than just about anything else that you could ever possibly do. As always, if you have any questions or comments, share them with me at levrigeshow.com or tweet them at #levrigeshow. And until next time, make it happen.